Every 68 seconds, someone in America has a stroke. That's not a statistic you want to become part of. But here's the incredible truth that most people don't realize. Up to 80% of strokes are completely preventable through simple lifestyle changes. Today, we're going to explore 10 dangerous lifestyle choices that dramatically increase your stroke risk, backed by cutting-edge research from leading medical institutions. Some of these might surprise you. And by the end of this video, you'll have the knowledge to protect your brain for decades to come. Let's start with something that might shock you. Did you know that sitting for more than 8 hours a day can increase your stroke risk by up to 60%? This finding comes from a comprehensive study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association, and it's particularly alarming because the average American now sits for over 10 hours daily. When we remain sedentary for extended periods, our blood flow slows dramatically, our blood pressure rises, and our bodies become less efficient at processing blood sugar and fats. These changes create the perfect storm for blood clots to form. The mechanism behind this is fascinating and terrifying. When you sit for prolonged periods, the large muscles in your legs essentially shut down. These muscles normally act like pumps, helping push blood back to your heart. Without this muscular assistance, blood begins to pool in your lower extremities, increasing the likelihood of clot formation. Additionally, prolonged sitting triggers inflammatory responses in your body, damaging blood vessel walls and making them more prone to rupture or blockage. But here's what makes this particularly dangerous. Many people think they can offset hours of sitting with a quick workout at the gym. Unfortunately, research from the American Heart Association shows that even regular exercise cannot completely counteract the harmful effects of prolonged sitting. The solution isn't just adding more exercise. It's breaking up those sitting periods throughout your day. Studies indicate that standing and moving for just 2 minutes every hour can reduce your stroke risk by 23%. Moving from physical inactivity to another silent killer. Chronic sleep deprivation. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has identified inadequate sleep as a major stroke risk factor, and the numbers are staggering. People who consistently sleep less than 6 hours per night have a 4 times higher risk of stroke compared to those who get 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. What's even more concerning is that this applies to seemingly healthy individuals with no other major risk factors. During sleep, your brain undergoes a remarkable cleaning process. Cerebrospinal fluid washes through your brain tissue, clearing out toxic proteins and cellular waste that accumulate during waking hours. When you're chronically sleep deprived, this cleaning process becomes inefficient, leading to inflammation in blood vessels and increased stroke risk. Sleep deprivation also elevates stress hormones like cortisol, which can damage arterial walls over time. Research published in Neurology Journal followed over 400,000 adults for nearly a decade and found that irregular sleep patterns were just as dangerous as short sleep duration. People whose sleep varied by more than 2 hours night to night had a 26% higher stroke risk. Your brain craves consistency, and disrupting your circadian rhythm throws off numerous biological processes that protect your cardiovascular system. The third dangerous lifestyle choice involves something millions of Americans do daily without realizing the devastating impact on their brain health: consuming excessive amounts of processed foods high in sodium. The American Heart Association's latest research shows that diets containing more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium daily can increase stroke risk by up to 36%. To put this in perspective, a single fast food meal often contains your entire daily sodium allowance. Excess sodium doesn't just raise blood pressure temporarily, it fundamentally alters how your blood vessels function. High sodium intake causes your blood vessels to become less flexible and more prone to damage. It also increases blood volume, forcing your heart to work harder and putting additional stress on arterial walls. Over time, this leads to atherosclerosis, where fatty deposits build up in arteries, potentially blocking blood flow to your brain. A groundbreaking study published in the New England Journal of Medicine tracked over 100,000 participants for 2 decades and found that reducing sodium intake by just 1,000 milligrams daily reduced stroke risk by 14%. The researchers noted that the benefits began appearing within just 6 months of dietary changes, proving that it's never too late to start protecting your brain. But sodium isn't the only dietary villain. Ultra-processed foods, which now make up over 50% of the average American diet, contain a cocktail of preservatives, artificial additives, and trans fats that directly damage blood vessels. These foods trigger chronic inflammation throughout your body, including in the delicate blood vessels that supply your brain. The Predimed study, one of the largest nutrition trials ever conducted, found that people consuming the most ultra-processed foods had a 62% higher stroke risk compared to those eating whole, natural foods. Our fourth dangerous lifestyle choice is something that affects over 40% of American adults: chronic stress that goes unmanaged. While we often think of stress as a mental health issue, research from Harvard Medical School reveals that chronic stress is one of the most underestimated stroke risk factors. People experiencing chronic stress have nearly double the stroke risk of those with effective stress management strategies. When you're constantly stressed, your body produces excessive amounts of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones cause your blood pressure to spike repeatedly throughout the day, creating microtears in arterial walls where dangerous plaques can form. Chronic stress also promotes inflammation, disrupts sleep patterns, and often leads to other unhealthy behaviors like overeating, smoking, or excessive alcohol consumption. What makes stress particularly insidious is that many people don't recognize when they're chronically stressed. Your body adapts to elevated stress levels, making them feel normal even when they're slowly damaging your cardiovascular system. A study published in Psychosomatic Medicine followed over 6,000 adults for 18 years and found that those reporting high levels of perceived stress had a 59% higher risk of stroke, even after controlling for other risk factors. The good news is that stress management techniques can rapidly reduce stroke risk. Mindfulness meditation, practiced for just 20 minutes daily, has been shown to lower blood pressure and reduce inflammatory markers within 8 weeks. Regular yoga practice can reduce stroke risk by up to 30%, according to research from the American Heart Association. Now, let's discuss a lifestyle choice that's becoming increasingly common, especially among younger adults: irregular eating patterns and frequent fasting cycles. While intermittent fasting has gained popularity for weight loss, extreme eating patterns can significantly impact stroke risk. Research from the Cardiovascular Research Foundation shows that people who skip breakfast regularly have an 18% higher stroke risk compared to those who eat regular morning meals. The reason behind this is complex but crucial to understand. When you skip meals, especially breakfast, your blood sugar levels fluctuate dramatically throughout the day. These fluctuations stress your cardiovascular system and can trigger dangerous spikes in blood pressure. Additionally, people who skip meals often compensate by overeating later, leading to rapid blood sugar spikes that damage blood vessel walls over time. A comprehensive study published in Circulation tracked eating patterns of over 26,000 healthcare professionals for 16 years. The researchers found that men who skipped breakfast had a 27% higher risk of heart attack and stroke. The study revealed that irregular eating patterns disrupt your body's natural circadian rhythms, affecting everything from hormone production to blood pressure regulation. This doesn't mean intermittent fasting is inherently dangerous, but extreme or erratic eating patterns can be. The key is consistency and ensuring your body receives adequate nutrition within appropriate time windows. Studies show that people following structured intermittent fasting protocols with medical supervision may actually reduce certain cardiovascular risk factors, but self-imposed extreme fasting can be dangerous. Our sixth dangerous lifestyle choice involves something that many people consider harmless: excessive alcohol consumption. The relationship between alcohol and stroke risk is complex and dose-dependent. While light to moderate drinking may have some cardiovascular benefits, regular heavy drinking dramatically increases stroke risk. The InterStroke study, published in Neurology, found that consuming more than 2 drinks daily increases stroke risk by 62%. Alcohol affects stroke risk through multiple mechanisms. It can cause blood pressure to spike dangerously, especially during binge drinking episodes. Regular heavy drinking also leads to atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat that increases the likelihood of blood clots forming in your heart and traveling to your brain. Additionally, alcohol interferes with your liver's ability to produce proteins necessary for proper blood clotting, creating a delicate balance that can easily tip toward either excessive bleeding or dangerous clot formation. What's particularly concerning is the definition of heavy drinking, according to medical research. For men, this means more than 14 drinks per week, and for women, more than 7 drinks per week. These numbers are much lower than what many people consider problematic drinking. A study from The Lancet analyzed data from over 599,000 drinkers across 19 countries and found that the safest level of alcohol consumption for cardiovascular health is 0. Binge drinking, defined as consuming 4 or more drinks within 2 hours for women and 5 or more for men, is especially dangerous. Even occasional binge drinking can trigger atrial fibrillation and cause temporary but significant spikes in blood pressure that can precipitate a stroke. Emergency room data shows that stroke incidence increases by over 300% during the 24 hours following binge drinking episodes. The 7th lifestyle choice that dramatically increases stroke risk is something affecting over 1 billion people worldwide: smoking cigarettes or using any tobacco products. According to the CDC, smoking doubles your risk of ischemic stroke and increases hemorrhagic stroke risk by up to 3.7 times. What's particularly tragic is that smoking-related strokes often occur in younger individuals who might otherwise have lived stroke-free for decades. Cigarette smoke contains over 7,000 chemicals, at least 70 of which are known carcinogens. But the stroke risk comes primarily from nicotine and carbon monoxide. Nicotine causes immediate blood vessel constriction and increases blood pressure, while carbon monoxide reduces your blood's ability to carry oxygen. This combination forces your heart to work harder while simultaneously reducing the oxygen available to your brain. Even more alarming is how quickly smoking damages your cardiovascular system. Within minutes of smoking a single cigarette, your blood pressure rises, your heart rate increases, and your blood becomes more likely to clot. The American Stroke Association reports that smoking just 1 cigarette per day increases stroke risk by 30% compared to never smoking. There's no safe level of tobacco use when it comes to stroke prevention. However, there's incredibly encouraging news about quitting. Research published in the Journal of the American Medical Association shows that stroke risk begins declining immediately after quitting smoking. Within 2 years of quitting, your stroke risk drops to nearly that of a non-smoker. Within 5 years, it's as if you never smoked at all from a stroke risk perspective, even if you've smoked for decades. Quitting at any age provides substantial benefits. Our 8th dangerous lifestyle choice is one that's become endemic in modern society: chronic dehydration. Most people don't realize that mild chronic dehydration significantly increases stroke risk by making blood thicker and more prone to clotting. The Journal of Epidemiology published research showing that people who drink less than 5 glasses of water daily have a 41% higher risk of stroke compared to those who drink more than 8 glasses daily. When you're dehydrated, your blood volume decreases, but your body compensates by concentrating your blood. This thicker blood moves more slowly through your vessels and is more likely to form dangerous clots. Dehydration also triggers your body to release hormones that constrict blood vessels, further increasing blood pressure and stroke risk. What's particularly concerning is that many people live in a state of chronic, mild dehydration without realizing it. By the time you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated. Coffee, tea, and alcohol can actually contribute to dehydration despite being liquids. A study from the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that many adults mistake thirst for hunger, leading to overeating instead of proper hydration. The solution seems simple, but it requires conscious effort. The Institute of Medicine recommends about 15.5 cups of fluids daily for men and 11.5 cups for women, including water from food sources. However, during hot weather, exercise, or illness, these needs increase significantly. Research shows that proper hydration not only reduces stroke risk, but also improves cognitive function and overall cardiovascular health. The 9th lifestyle choice involves something that affects sleep quality, stress levels, and cardiovascular health simultaneously: excessive screen time, particularly before bedtime. A study published in Preventive Medicine found that people spending more than 7 hours daily on screens have a 22% higher stroke risk, largely due to the cascade of health problems that excessive screen time creates. Blue light exposure from screens disrupts your body's natural production of melatonin, a hormone crucial for quality sleep. Poor sleep quality, as we discussed earlier, directly increases stroke risk, but screen time affects stroke risk through additional pathways. Extended screen use often coincides with prolonged sitting, poor posture that restricts blood flow, and mindless snacking on processed foods. Perhaps most importantly, excessive screen time, especially social media use, has been linked to increased stress and anxiety levels. Research from the University of Pennsylvania found that limiting social media use to just 30 minutes daily for 1 week led to significant reductions in loneliness and depression, along with measurable improvements in cardiovascular markers. The constant stimulation and comparison culture of digital platforms keeps your stress response system activated, maintaining elevated cortisol levels that damage blood vessels over time. The solution isn't to eliminate technology entirely, but to create boundaries that protect your health. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine recommends avoiding all screens for at least 1 hour before bedtime. Additionally, implementing the 20-20-20 rule during screen time, looking at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds every 20 minutes, can help reduce the strain on both your eyes and your cardiovascular system. Our final and perhaps most surprising dangerous lifestyle choice is social isolation. Loneliness and social disconnection have been identified by researchers as equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes daily in terms of health impact. A meta-analysis published in PLOS Medicine, which analyzed data from over 308,000 individuals, found that people with strong social relationships have a 50% lower risk of stroke compared to those who are socially isolated. Chronic loneliness triggers a stress response similar to physical threats, keeping your body in a constant state of fight or flight activation. This chronic stress state leads to persistent inflammation, elevated blood pressure, and compromised immune function. Research from the University of Chicago shows that lonely individuals have higher levels of cortisol and inflammatory markers, both of which contribute to blood vessel damage and increased stroke risk. Social isolation also indirectly increases stroke risk by making people more likely to engage in other dangerous behaviors. Isolated individuals are more prone to poor dietary choices, excessive alcohol consumption, smoking, and physical inactivity. They're also less likely to seek medical care for early warning signs or maintain regular health checkups. The COVID-19 pandemic provided researchers with an unfortunate natural experiment in social isolation effects. Studies published in Stroke Journal found that stroke rates increased significantly during lockdown periods, particularly among individuals who lived alone or had limited social contact. The researchers noted that this increase couldn't be explained by delayed medical care alone. The isolation itself appeared to be a contributing factor. Building and maintaining social connections doesn't require dramatic lifestyle changes. Research shows that having just 3 close relationships can provide significant health benefits. Regular volunteering, joining community groups, or even maintaining consistent contact with neighbors can provide the social support necessary to reduce stroke risk. Video calls with family and friends, while not as beneficial as in-person interaction, still provide measurable cardiovascular benefits compared to complete isolation. Understanding these 10 lifestyle factors gives you incredible power over your stroke risk. But knowledge alone isn't enough. The key is implementing changes gradually and sustainably. Research from the Mayo Clinic shows that people who try to change too many habits simultaneously have a 90% failure rate within 6 months. Instead, focus on modifying one lifestyle factor at a time, allowing each change to become automatic before adding the next. Start with the factor that resonates most with your current situation. If you're spending most of your day sitting, begin by setting hourly movement reminders. If sleep is your biggest challenge, establish a consistent bedtime routine and eliminate screens from your bedroom. The important thing is to begin somewhere and build momentum gradually. Remember that small changes compound over time to create dramatic health improvements. A person who implements just 5 of these lifestyle modifications can reduce their stroke risk by up to 70%. According to research from the American Stroke Association, that's a more powerful protection than most medications can provide, and it comes with the added benefits of improved energy, better mood, and enhanced cognitive function. Your brain is remarkably resilient and responsive to positive changes. Studies show that even people who have multiple stroke risk factors can significantly improve their outcomes by adopting healthier lifestyle choices. It's never too early or too late to start protecting your brain health. The lifestyle choices you make today directly influence your neurological health for decades to come. Take action today. Choose one of these 10 factors and commit to making a change this week. Your future self will thank you, and your brain will reward you with better function, clearer thinking, and protection against one of the most preventable medical emergencies of our time. Remember, every positive choice you make is an investment in your long-term health and independence. If this information has been valuable to you, please share this video with someone you care about. Stroke prevention is too important to keep to yourself, and together, we can help reduce the devastating impact of this largely preventable condition. Subscribe for more evidence-based health content, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll explore the warning signs of stroke that everyone should know.